let's try to turn this Poppyfield Avenue themed mess into some organized categories of ephemera, which we can then later on hopefully use to find out which of these pieces shall go where, to which spot in our journal, without freaking out. Let's also decide which of these pieces we want to back with something to make them either sturdier or more handy for our journal by using some of our coffee dyed collage papers we made the other day. Hi, this is Luise Heinze, and today for me is Sunday, and I really need this time together with you to get rid of my aggressions I have. And because of that, I first want to take all of this off, because somewhere under these pieces there are my signatures for my journal. If you think, what the heck is she doing, because you are new here, welcome to the madness. I guess this is normal. I guess this is still the ugly stage of my Poppyfield Avenue junk journal, which I'm currently working on. So all of this shall become a journal in the end, and believe it or not, here are some signatures. If you want to know how this happened and how we came to this stage of the project, and especially if you want to craft along with the Poppyfield Avenue paper collection, then please check out the description box. There you will find a playlist with all of the videos I have already published. There's also a paper premiere video available, which you can watch on replay, and there you can already see my journal in a bound condition and not only loose papers. If you want to perhaps see that first, then please search for the paper premiere video. It should be the first published one in the playlist. And after the paper premiere, we made a little time travel. This is still part of the time travel because I'm recording my process of making this journal here for you, so that you can find out how I did this, and that I can document some of my steps of making this, and that hopefully helps that you can craft along. So, and in the description box, there is also a link to a blog post about, why is this so wonky? A blog post about the paper collection and the journal. There you can also find very detailed photos. Photos you can also find on my Instagram if you want to follow me there as well. The link is down below in the description box. Where else shall it be? So then, sorry, I had a clown for breakfast. We have this here now. In the last video, this was a little thicker, but then we have cut and torn out our ephemera, which we had in the journal before. If you're new, then you might think, hey, what? Why has she torn it out? Please watch the other videos, okay? I have made several different steps to come to this, and I have a plan, yeah? Even if this really doesn't look like I had a plan, but I have a plan, please believe me. And for that plan, we are going to need some categories now. So I want to do something. With the method of creating these pieces, we got really uncontrolled and mostly unexpected results of our ephemera pieces. And what we also got is, for example, something like this. Edges which are really weird shapes, and this tag here, for example, has not this normal tag shape anymore, but it has something like this here. And with that, and that is on most of the other pieces as well, we also get something really ugly, at least in my eyes, here on the back. So I want to first categorize my pieces and then back them with my collage paper, which I made with coffee dyed paper and a little twist. This is a little messy, but a ton of fun. So if you are new here and you have missed this video, please check out the playlist there in the description box. You can find a video how I made these papers here as well. And I want to use these to do two different things. On the one hand, I want to back my tags, which I want to have for journaling later. Yeah, you could also use a tag for making a pocket, but I'm talking about those tags which I want to put loose in the journal later, and then you can take them out and write on the back. I want to get rid of this weird stuff here. The same with the cards. So one category would be tags and cards, meaning those tags and cards which really later on are cards. Yeah, I will go into detail about that in a second so that you can understand what I mean, especially if you are new to this these things, then there is perhaps a little bit of explanation needed how I do that. So this here, for example, I could imagine, so let's just make an example, yeah, that we use this later really as a tag where we want to journal on the back. So then I will put this here. The next category for me is tucks and pockets. And for example, things like belly bands also count in this category, belong to this category for me. Let's say, for example, I want to have this here, and I want to turn this into a tuck spot. On the printable, so meaning in the Poppyfield Avenue ephemera pack and also in the kit, this is meant to use as a triangular tuck spot. Yeah, so if I decide I really want to do that, then I will put that here, because also with these things we could have problems on the back. I will go into detail about that in a second, where we could do something, or where we might need to do something so that it's really handy and that nothing can get hindered to go in here. Yeah, I will explain in a second what I mean. And the third category I want to call collage, because I want to use some of my ephemera pieces for some collages I want to make in the journal later. Like, for example, this tag, where I think if this will be hidden in a pocket, that would be so sad. And this could also be used as a focal point or the top layer of a collage. And if I have something like that, I want to decide that now and put that then into this category. For a collage, we probably don't need something on the back because we will glue this down. Yeah, if we here would have something ugly like here, who cares? Because when this is on a collage, let's say we have a page and there's something like this and we glue this on here, who cares that it's ugly from the back? And I want to do these categories so that that I don't drive myself crazy with these pieces, and that I also can see how many collage elements do I have, how many tuck spots do I have and pockets, and how many tags and cards do I have. Is that, especially these categories, is that approximately the same, so that I have enough pockets for my cards? Yeah, does that make sense? At least approximately enough. So let's go through these and let's just categorize them. So I think that I want to use all of these triangular pieces really as tuck spots. What shall we do? Shall we do that one by one, or shall I first search for all of the triangles? I have no idea. What would be the fastest way to do that? I have absolutely no idea. Yeah, I think I want to do it like that. And I think that is really annoying if we do it like that. Let's go, I would say we go from the top here and then go through the whole things here and we just grab what comes next. So this here, I think, would be really, really a cool pocket. It already has this pocket shape and we got this cool stuff here. So let's consider this a pocket. This looks absolutely weird. And to be honest, I'm not so sure yet what to do with these weird pieces. But perhaps if this was a background, I mean, it looks really backgroundish, doesn't it? Then we could perhaps put a focal point here and make a tag from it. Or what we also could do is we could put it here, put a focal point and use that for a collage. That would also be possible. But let's put it here. This here is definitely one of the most beautiful things I got. I really, really love this flower here on the print itself. And also what we got around here. I think we put this here to the category collage. The same is for this. I really like how the bird came out here with all of the things around. And here is this point where I talked about earlier. If I think... I hold it like this so that you can see the tag shape itself better. Can you see? It's from the printable. It's shaped like a tag. It has these cut corners here. But if I decide that I want to use this as the top layer of a collage, it's my journal, yeah, then I do that. What do I want to say with that? If you have pieces which are like normally meant as this or this or that, please do with them what you want. Yeah, there's no necessity to turn this into a tag. Who says that? I want that you can, especially if you consider yourself a beginner, that you can understand that you can use these pieces like you want them. Yeah, you could also turn them into a pocket. Imagine it was glued here and here and here, then you could also use it as a pocket. Yeah, then it's a tag shaped pocket. But you can turn every piece into everything. Yeah, so that's what I also want to show with my process here, that is possible. These shapes, I got a lot of questions about these. These you can find in multiple, nearly all of my printables. These are meant as tuck spots. So you can put glue here, and then you can put something in here so that it slides in there, like for example, like so. You could also use them in a different way, but for this journal, I want to use them really as tuck spots. I think this screams tag, especially because it has this cool edge here. I really like how these turned out. So this is shaped like a pocket, so let's use it as a pocket. As I said, you could also do something else. You could also, if you say, oh, I like this, but I don't like this, cut it off here and use it as something else. You could also use this as a background for a focal point on a card or so. Would also be possible. If this... If we would use this for a collage, it's pretty big, isn't it? I have an idea. Let's put this here. I have an idea how we could do that then. This here is pretty long. This is one of the giant tags from the ephemera pack / the kit. And I think here it would look really cool if we would turn this into a belly band by gluing it here and here, and then we can put something in here, or we could also turn it into a pocket. So let's put that here, and let's perhaps then quickly search for the other both giant tags, because we could then bring a little variation into this. Can't find. There should be 3 of these tags. Can't find the third one. This here. When I look at this, I really like this, how this looks. I think, first I thought I want to put it here, but now I'm thinking this already looks so cool. It is such a cool background. Let's turn that into a belly band or a pocket as well. I really like that. So this thing here, I would say there's the same for this. This could also really be a cool pocket or a tuck spot or a belly band as well. Then here we already have a lot and here not so much. Let's use this as a tag. I will put this aside to the category without a name, okay? Because I have absolutely no idea until now what I shall do with that. I think this piece is going to become a card. So I will go on with this and decide where I, which piece I want to put into which category. Do you know what? Do you know what? I think I found my problem. What if we make something like, how can we call that? Let's call that fodder. Because here I have a piece and I have another one right here where I think that it could make sense to keep those pieces as layers for something. Collage fodder or pieces where we can layer that, like for example this piece or also this card. Somehow, let's even try both of these and let's try to combine them, okay? Yeah, look, here you can already see what I mean. Imagine, please, this would be on here like so. Both pieces for me are like lost somehow, but if I combine them, that could look cool. This here, for example, is pretty, it doesn't speak to me. It's like pretty neutral, it's very silent, and it doesn't speak to me. But that is not working with the pink or on there. Yeah, look, for example, if I do it like this, and if I would combine this pocket with this thing, that would look cool, at least for me. So let's put these pieces, no matter if we already know what we are going to do with them or not, let's put these pieces where we think it doesn't fit here, it doesn't fit here, and it doesn't fit here. Let's put them here to fodder, and then later on we can decide what we want to do. I could also imagine to cut this in half. On the other hand, this could be a great card as well. Let's put it here. So I will try to go on with this method, and I will then, when I have finished that, come back to you and show you how I back these, at least those where it's necessary to back them, so that we can get rid of these problems here. Because when I, for example, say I want to use this card, I mean, originally it was a card, in this category as a pocket, then I would need to find a way to make this here sturdy. Because, can you see, this came when I have torn it off from the page, and this is really flimsy. So we have to somehow make sure that we really can use this as a pocket and that it will not fall apart later. So then, see you in a second when I have finished this.
And today, there's nothing I miss more. Send me time-worn secrets, telling tales we knew were true, wrapped in coffee and cinnamon air, the ceremonies we used to share, every line a whisper, a memory to renew, sent them to me.
Okay, so here we are again. Let's be very, very, very clever, okay? And use some of these clamps so that we can't get these mixed up or so, and that way we can also put them aside for the time we don't need them. And if you want to know more about the wonderful voice you've just heard with our Poppyfield Avenue soundtrack, then please check out the description box. There's a link to the link tree of Daniel Evans, who has performed the soundtrack, and he's the one who has turned my lyrics for this soundtrack into some music. And I'm really, really happy that he did that for us again. So that is already the second song he did for us. And if you like what he does, then please give him a follow. And perhaps we will also one day see each other in one of his TikTok live streams. That would make me really happy, because then we could spend some time there and chat a little bit while we can listen to his music. So that being said, let's take these papers here. We've made in one of the other videos that is already a little longer ago. If you follow along here, then you know what I did here. If this is new to you, if you want to have something like this as well, then please watch the video linked below in the playlist where it says, how is the video called? Coffee Dyed Collage Paper is the title of this video. And speaking about collage paper, perhaps you know that I have put a shipping box around me here when I smashed these things here on the paper, that I don't ruin my room, and that the other things over there are protected. And I have put some papers on there. When I first have set this up, all of my mediums, they came to the box here, and then you suggested I could clamp some papers here to get this. And I mean, what the heck, this is amazing. And because of that, we can take these papers now as well. Don't freak out if you don't have these papers. Just use coffee dyed paper or whatever you might have, or whatever you like. Yeah, you can use for this step whatever you like and whatever you have. So then, what I want to do is, I think my problem is, I think that my collage papers might be not enough for what I need. And because of that, let's start with the category tags and cards. Oh, this feels so cool when you have this. This feels nearly like a little journal. This is somehow this is cool. Do you know this feeling when you have these things and then you think, oh, that feels somehow cool, I can't take it apart anymore? I have that right in this moment. That is a little bit weird. But let's start with these, because I think on the tags and the cards there, what I want to do now is that it's important, at least for me, that looks really cool and really good for the pockets. The backing is not so crazily important, because it's only a functional thing and not a design / visual thing, if that makes sense. So let's do this somehow strategically. Let's start with this. Let's then perhaps start with one example where I think I can explain the best what I want to do here, so that you can follow along. So this tag here, for example, originally the shape was just, you know, a rectangle, a regular rectangle with the corners cut off here. But because of our crazy method of making this ephemera, we got this here, and with that a pretty weird shape. And I think we could showcase exactly this area by backing it with something, and bringing the original shape back with some sewing, slash, if you don't have a sewing machine, faux stitching with a black pen, or a stamp set which has, you know, something like stitching, or if you don't like that, you can also just take a black pen and go around here. So what I want to do is I want to find a position here on my paper where I have something here which I like, and I think I tried this out yesterday, and I think I used this here where I thought I like that better, but I think that is not true. I think I'm not so sure which paper I had, but this is now probably a weird puzzle, but I like this. I wish there was a little bit of the white. Let's perhaps, I think I like that. Let's perhaps do it like so. And now I'm going to take some glue. This is just some bookbinder's glue. I will just glue this down. And now you might think, what the heck? She covers up a lot of her paper here. I know that. But for me, it's worth this method, and that I now lose a lot of my paper. I mean, I don't lose the paper itself, but the pattern of the paper. But in this case, this is for me a functional thing, and not necessarily something where I think I need this pattern. Yeah, I mean, if you want, no, you can't. If you haven't stamped to your paper and just use the mediums without the stamping, then you could even make a copy and have more than one sheet. I can't do that because I have the stamps here and they have copyright. Yeah, I can't do that. And you can't do that as well. Please don't do that, okay? But this is really easily doable. We could make a ton of these sheets within a day and then we would have enough, yeah? And I like coffee dyed paper for backing tags because look, here on the other side, we also have something interesting, yeah? And this is a really nice background, even if it's the back of the paper. But what you also, of course, could consider is do it like so, use this here for what I want to do now, and then you can write with a white pen on this. Yeah, that would also be possible. Perhaps we can do that even for these smaller tags. I think that could even work. Let's try that. So what I want to do now is, can I really cut this without a paper trimmer? I think I can't. Oh, my goodness. With this journal and with this series, I also try to overcome my perfectionism, but to be honest, with some of these things, it's just not possible. So what I'm going to do is I cut this off here, but I leave a little distance to the little, a little frame to the tag. I'll show you in a second. A little closer. So that we see this paper around here and that we get this shape back. Can you see that? And then this here is really cool showcased somehow because we have this in the background now. I really, really love how this turned out. And then we can take our scissors and just cut this off so that we have this. Oh, why is this so wonky? What the heck? Goodness. Because that way we get the tag shape back and it has a frame And at the same time, we have a nice backside for journaling. And now what I want to do is I want to take this to my sewing machine and then I want to sew around here. And I think now you have two possibilities. The first possibility would be to sew along here. And when you come to this area, sew straight along here and then along here, so that then this original tag shape is back on the thing, yeah? Or when you come along here, you could also sew along here so that you showcase this here even more, because the shape itself we got back with the frame. Does that make sense? I will quickly run to my sewing machine and do that. I am absolutely in love. This looks so cool. Oh my goodness. It's more finished somehow. I'm a little bit stressed, to be honest, because I mean, perhaps you can even see that in the video footage. I'm again filming with my old phone, which died a few days ago, and then I tried to bring it back to life, which was more or less successful. I, in the meantime, had another new phone, but I can't handle that phone because it just drives me crazy. I had the really stupid idea that I could change all of my things here from Android to iOS. Yeah, well, it's just that I can't handle it. It's not meant bad or so, because those phones are probably good, yeah, but I just couldn't handle it. And I realized that it doesn't fit my workflow too late, when I already had the new phone. And I was really, yeah, happy about the video quality, and perhaps you have seen that in the end of the last video. There I had already the new phone and I filmed with it, and the quality was really good. But then I also had problems to transfer those files to my computer. My video editing program didn't want to have those files, and so on. I had so many problems. You can't imagine how many problems I had with that. And because of that, I'm really close to freaking out. I ordered another phone while I, have sent the other one back. And now I'm waiting for that to arrive, hoping that I will not get into trouble with that as well, and that it doesn't get this overheating problem again, because that is why I couldn't film anymore. This looks absolutely cool. And I'm thinking I will do this, that this is on the back for all of the tags which have a regular shape, yeah, compared to this one here. This, before I did the backing, was already a nice shape because it didn't lose any pieces while we made this technique. The same for this. If I take this, fold this to the back, this is just a little bit of the masking tape we've used, then this is the original shape. And if I take this and back that with the coffee dyed paper, then I can have this cool pattern on the back side and just this little frame here on this side. But for something like this, where something is missing, I like it better when I have this here on the front, yeah, even if I then lose a little bit of the pattern of the paper. So let's see, is this enough? Well, let's put this aside. Well, if we would do it without a frame, then it would be enough. So what I am going to do is now I will back all of the text and the cards where I think it's necessary with the paper. If I find something where I think there's no backing necessary, because I like the back, or, perhaps there went some medium to the back where I think that is nice as it is, or I want some white or so, then I will just leave them. And for the rest, I will go on with this method, and then I will take them all to my sewing machine, or perhaps I will do that, I will not do that. I will do that in the very end, when we have finished the pockets as well, because then I can take everything to my sewing machine and sew everything at once.
Your letters from Poppy Field Avenue. The cobblestones remember us, though now they hum alone. I keep your words inside my coat, the corners worn and frayed. My footsteps lost beneath the haze of the silver moon. But your love in those words will never fade. Send me letters from Poppy Field Avenue, time-worn secrets, telling tales we knew were true. Wrapped in coffee and cinnamon air, the ceremonies we used to share. Every line a whisper, a memory to renew. Send them to me, your letters from Poppy Field.
I think I changed my mind about my dead phone, because after I had finished these, except the sewing, I still have to do that, my phone died again, and it's already the next day. But that gave me the chance to think about this a little further during the night, you know. So that I got some additional ideas what we could do with the pieces for the tuck spots and the pockets and, you know, belly bands, and what we also could do with the leftovers from our collage paper, because I thought it's a little bit sad, you know, when you glue the pieces to the collage paper, that we have these pieces left over. I mean, we can always use that in collages later, but why don't we try to include these pieces now? And for that, I thought I want to give 1, 2, 3 of my paper punches another chance. If you know, you know. So I want to basically do that on those pieces where I think that there is perhaps something which I don't like so much, or perhaps there's something here, for example. Please compare both of these. I think you can immediately see what's going on here. Here we have a clear imagery left. I mean, with left, I mean, when we did our technique, we did this without thinking about it, and we got what we got, yeah? And with that, it's not controllable. But here we have these poppy flowers still like a focal point or so on this thing. So this makes sense like it is already. The same, for example, for this one here. But this, with this here, is somehow a little bit too backgroundish for me. So here's definitely something missing. But at the same time, this thing here somehow gives an orientation also, or something where we could say, if we now take something, like for example, a punch, or alternatively a die cut. With this, I can't come into this far enough. I haven't thought about that, because originally I thought I want to do that here on the edges. Do I need to put that in one of these holes here? That could be the solution. Oh yes, I think I think this is how it's supposed to use it. If you don't have a fancy tool like this, I mean, I don't know if this is how it's meant to use. Use a die cut, okay. Just use a die cut. But if we cut a hole here, we have more possibilities. You could put a transparency behind here, turn this into a little shaker element or so. You could also, when you cut it out, take your scissors and make this a little rough. But what about something like this? I think that looks really cool. Oh, perhaps even like so, perhaps that looks cool. I will first do it like this, so that I have this in the correct position, and then we can just cut this off here. We could even think about backing this with another piece of our collage paper to also make the pocket a little sturdier if we want that. I would say with this paper where I've printed it on, it's not necessarily important to do that because this paper is already pretty sturdy. That would be enough for my taste for making a pocket, so that is really sturdy in the end. But if we want to have a little additional interest, I think we could also take so let's then try to overcome our perfectionism and cut this off with our scissors instead of a paper trimmer. I think that looks really cool. And there was another piece where I thought we could do something interesting with that as well. Look here, it happened that this piece here was added to the pocket with our technique. When I have removed this, I got our advertising column effect here with the texture paste, and with that this area changed in shape, but at the same time the texture paste here and this material you know, when this is the edge of the pocket and I want to put something in here, I would be afraid that this could perhaps be a problem in the end and that this could get destroyed. So what can we do to avoid that? First of all, let's back this with a piece of this so that it's just, you know, a little sturdier and that this area here is protected, and also this here where we have this thinner paper, and that is there because I have removed it pretty aggressively from the page. That way it's sturdy, but we still have the original interesting shape of this. Now we could use this exactly as it is as a pocket, or what I thought was, why don't we take another piece like this, for example, like so, and then we put the glue here and here and here, to make a double pocket. Let's perhaps just tear it here. And then I like to take this edge here and fold that to the back so that because here's the second pocket then. That way this gets sturdier in the end. So let's just take a little bit of tape, and with that, when we later on take this and glue that to a page, we would also put the glue here and here and here, and then we have a pocket here, and with the tape here, this edge is pretty sturdy so that nothing can happen with the paper, that it can't tear. And we have additionally a pocket here then. Or alternatively, we could of course also put it like so to the page, and then we would have a side loaded pocket, or how's the word for that? I really like this. Okay, so here I'm back. All of my tuckets, tuckets. A tucket. A tucket is a combination of tuck and pocket. All of my tuckets are sewn. All of my tags and cards are sewn. And for the other things, we don't need the sewing. And I also don't need the backing for those, because this is going to go into our collages. And this then probably also, but in a little different way. So we can put these aside for now. And then I want to take my signatures and try something, to be honest, I've never done before. In the past, and I'm talking about the past, very long ago, I have seen people taking their tuck spots and pockets and so on. Ooh. And they have, I'm so sorry, I like this so much here. And they have taken paper clips, and I think they still do that. They've not stopped doing that, to determine the position where they want to put these things in the journal. But in that moment where they've used the paper clips, they have not glued it down, obviously. So just, you know, they have taken it and done it like this, and then they have taken a paper clip to bring that to the page. And since the paper clip is too short here, I will just do it like this, so that I know that I want to put this tuck spot to this page. Why haven't I tried that in the past? I can't really tell you, because I don't know. I just don't know why I haven't done that, because I think that can be really helpful for several different things. On the first hand, you can get an idea about your journal will look later. You can easily change your mind if you think, oh, this is nice, and later on you think, I don't want to have it here, then you can easily put it somewhere else. I really like that idea, and I don't know why I haven't tried that out earlier, because I think it can be really helpful. And especially if you are like me and you have a hard time making decisions where to put these things, I think that can be really helpful, because with this method, this thing has a position for now. I have made a decision now, but if I find something out later and, you know, find other ideas or so, I can still change my mind about the position. And I really like that, because especially in such a creative process like this is, hopefully, it can happen that you think this looks good, and then a few hours later you get an idea which, let's say, requires that this is not glued down yet. And then you can't get it off again. Do you know what I mean? And with this method, I think this problem can be avoided somehow. And another thing I like about this is that you can get an idea about the thickness of the signatures now. Because with this technique, and also obviously with other techniques as well, ooh, what is this doing here? It is really dangerous. And I do this because, I mean, you know, this should be fun. It shouldn't be a danger or so. But it's somehow a little bit dangerous that the things get too thick. We all know that. And with that, with this method, we can perhaps get a better idea about the bulkiness of the journal. So if you want to follow for the next steps, then stay tuned for the next video. To be honest, I can't wait to go on with this, because this is just so much fun. Even if we already had some things where we thought, oh my goodness, how to solve those problems. But that is the beauty of the whole thing, isn't it? And those decisions, it's so hard. I mean, this looks so cool, but this looks cool as well. I can't cover this up. So I will go on with this, and then we will hopefully see in the next video. Oh, look, it wants to be here. Have a very great day and stay creative. Bye.